Hi and welcome to the Financial Fox Week Review, where we talk about markets, investment, and obviously because it's the weekend lifestyle. What I wanted to discuss today is starting with security and data that has become so important in our lives. This week we have seen what the Financial Times described as the great Twitter hack of 2020, where a group of people promoting a Bitcoin scam, they managed to hack the Twitter account of a few high-profile personalities, including Michael Bloomberg and Elon Musk. So you see, this is a big problem because of the consequences that can happen. So luckily, that was just for a short amount of time and there were no big consequences, but it's so important that we learn and first of all we understand that we have to protect our data. So with the increase of online activities and particularly with the lockdown, everybody is going online, and obviously we know we are using internet and online services, we do payments online, so our data, they are really so much at risk. Now, how you can protect your data? So there is a company called RBD that has developed the first blockchain-based password generation and manager in the world. They developed it with Digibyte, and they actually can provide you with tools to save, to protect your data. So how that works? So basically, you don't need to remember any password. You just need a QR code that you scan, and that allow you to log in into any website that you are basically subscribed to. And there is a two-factor authentificators that give another level of security, but is the first tools, that is the first website that basically allow you to protect your data without saving your password, which is, or remember your password, but it doesn't actually store the password. So this is why it's completely safe. And that is really game changing. So that leads me to the next news that was announced earlier on this week. It was the UK government decision to ban Huawei 5G network from the country. The reason behind this ban was a question of security and data. So Huawei, even if it is a private company, is being considered kind of like a spy of the Chinese government on Western country. So the fact that 5G is going to generate lots of data, it would pose really serious concern about security that was basically monopolized, let's say, by a Chinese company. Now the decision was definitely politicized and is following the decision that the US has made with China, and the UK obviously have to follow, but it's going to have a bigger implication for our country, considering also we are approaching Brexit and, you know, the fact that China could have been a really good partner in different aspects of the economy. Now, obviously, data and security are again a very important part of our lives. They are a priority for the governments and they should be a priority for the people. Now, 5G is not really going to change much for the end consumers. So it might not be really a bad news for a mobile phone users, but it's going to have bigger implication for businesses, for industries, because they are, for the governments, because it's going to allow these people to collect much more data. They can be used obviously for a better offering to clients, you know, for more statistics, for more analytics. So it has a bigger impact, let's say, on the businesses rather than the end consumer. But obviously security is a priority, so that was probably the right decision, and the implication, they are going to be significant, because it's not just about the decision to not have a Huawei or a Chinese company to partner for the rollout of the 5G, is that the 5G is going to be delayed probably 3 years, and it will cost around £2 billion to actually implement. So it's going to take a little bit of while, take a little bit of time, while Vodafone is going to replace its current infrastructure with other providers such as Nokia or Ericsson, but it's going to happen, and probably in a safer environment where our country is going to be more comfortable. So the last news I want to talk about is basically the offer that the AIM-listed company Ribor Resources made to DELT Energy, another AIM-listed company. So Ribor Resources is involved in the West Newton project that we discussed last week, and they made an offer for 12.3 million to buy Deltic Energy. Now, Deltic Energy has some really interesting assets in the North Sea. They are high exploration well in partner with Shell. But those assets, they are not going to be drilled until the second half of 2021. So the point is here, Ribor Resources made an offer because they can actually, the Deltic shareholder can actually benefit from the Ribor Resources short-term news flow, which include the West Newton oil discovery. Now, we know the West Newton has been described as the largest hydrocarbon discoveries since 1973 in the UK, and there is plenty of news flow coming up over the next months, with operations starting in Q3 2020. So the offer gone to Deltic board, and they rejected because the offer was too low, even if it was a premium of the current price, but it was not reflecting the current cash they have in the bank. And also they said the West Newton is raising big concern in terms of technical viability, materiality, and also limited potential upside. Now, this was based on some detailed understanding, as Deltic board said in their statement. The statement was a bit over the line, let's say. So Ribor Resources came back explaining that actually probably they haven't understood, they haven't done any analysis, and Ribor would be actually happy to sit down and explain the potential of West Newton. So it was kind of like a fight back from Deltic, a bit defensive, not based actually on a solid analysis. And we are going to see what happens. Ribor Resources is actually talking to some key shareholder of Deltic Energy, explaining the situation, the reason behind the offer, and also the upside that actually Ribor can bring to the table, considering, as we said, the short-term news flow and all the upside that related to West Newton. So let's see what is going to happen next week. It would be interesting to see the development of this takeover offer, if it's going to go into a takeover of style, or maybe they are going to accept. So we don't know. Now, I'm going to finish it off saying next week is going to be interesting, because we will have to put on our mask. So from next week in the UK, masks will be coverings. Mask or coverings for the face, whatever you want to call it, they are going to be mandatory in any shops and supermarkets, so not just on public transport. Now, this is kind of annoying news, let's say. I mean, is important because we have to look after ourselves, we have to protect ourselves. But it's going to be annoying because we won't be able to see people's faces anymore. We won't be able to see a smile anymore. But we will have to put this mask, because otherwise we are going to be fine. So this actually rule is already in place in countries such as Italy, Spain, and Scotland. So it's not something that is out of order, and I think it's probably the best decision by the government for people to protect themselves. So make sure that you're going to buy your mask, you're going to have some nice and fancy face covering for Friday when the rule is going to be implemented, and you will have to cover your face. And until then, just enjoy and smile, and and that's it. And always take care of yourself. So I will see you next week at the same time, and please share with us any feedback, any question that you have got, anything that you want me to discuss next week.